Wine. It can be red or white, and as we know from recent government research, it can ruin your life.
Yes, James, child. Just get to the point.
Oz has dragged me across the pond to California to see what the new world of wine has to offer. It's nice.
This time we're in Monterey trying cheap and cheerful Chardonnays with the locals.
I'd like to try the local oak Chardonnay.
No, that's fine, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
James blags his own vine.
How much would you sell that vine for?
But you know what? I'll just give it to you.
And the wine god gets it wrong.
The problem, child, is the one in the middle.
Well, it isn't actually. You failed.
I may have failed, you were boring.
Yes, wine lovers, this is the long-awaited sequel, Oz and James's big wine adventure, The New World.
Or, as I prefer to put it, Oz and James's bust-base New World booze cruise. It's been 2 weeks since we pooled our pocket money and hired this ratty old bus. I've made Oz his breakfast.
This is the centrepiece of James May's gastronomic life.
More to you, Mr. Clarke.
I'm deeply grateful, and I shall add to your Christmas bonus.
I've put up with his abuse.
It looks that James has not shaved this morning.
No, I just have.
Ah, he just has. Never mind, he just hasn't shaved very well.
And his irritating habits.
This is our fridge, and down here is the lock for the door to stop it coming open when we're driving along. The simple rule is every time you shut the fridge, even if we're parked up, you lock the door so that it becomes a habit and we don't have an accident. Only one person on the earth can't grasp this, and it is Oz Clarke.
In return, he has managed to completely ignore my needs. I want an unpretentious, affordable wine which will cost me less than a tenner in the UK. Clarke, you're fired.
Pipe down, James. We're heading somewhere which will satisfy even your cheap taste. We're heading north of Paso Robles to the dusty desert plains of Monterey.
That is a fantastic American view. Look, the rolling hills, then the craggy mountains, and the slowly and incompetently driven RV in the foreground.
And over there, the mountains, they're so parched. They're forbidding hot mountains.
But this harsh terrain didn't deter winemakers from planting vines during the 1960s. In the space of just 40 years, it's become one of the largest grape-growing regions in California, with a crop worth a staggering $200 million. One of the most popular grapes grown here is Chardonnay.
Just think of that. A whole region of America is devoted to fueling the British hen party industry. It's grown here, and it ends up on the pavement outside your house.
Well, hang on. This grape's got such a bad rap, but when it's done properly, it produces zesty, bright, refreshing wines, and that's what we're after.
You'll be pleased to know
Take a bit of cut
that we've got about a
fifth.
fifth of the way up our map.
That means lots more wine to drink.
We're heading to the Delicato vineyard, a family business on a grand scale.
This narrow gateway is the gateway into the biggest vineyard in the world. Now, mechanization, you're going to like this. It's so big, they've actually got picking machines which actually pick 2 rows at a time. Otherwise, it would take about a month to pick a row of vine. There are rows of vines in this vineyard that are 11 miles long, and you're not listening.
That's because I'm trying not to crash the bloody bus.
This is what's known as a wide-angle shot. The gate is smaller than it looks.
There are 7 different varieties of grapes grown here over an area of 55 square miles, with Chardonnay being the most planted white grape. It's run by Bill Petrovich and his Australian winemaking sidekick, James Hewitt.
I mean, to use the English expression, this is chuffing massive. I think it's fair enough. It just goes on for thousands of miles in all directions. How many vines are there on your vineyard?
Oh, just under 5 million.
5 million separate vines.
Yes.
How many cases of wine?
Just under 3 million cases. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, under
3 million
just under
cases
3
would
million.
be
36 million bottles of wine.
36 million bottles of wine coming out of this vineyard.
Yes.
How much
There are
is
some
this?
countries which don't produce that much.
Well, England, for example.
England, well, England, obviously.
How much is your wine typically?
Generally, $6.99 to £10 is generally where we're
From
at.
this vineyard, we've
From
got
this vineyard.
£6.99 wine.
Mm-hmm.
James, I told you I'd find you some.
I'm very happy. So this is we are in the what would you call this? The heartland of the affordable but decent wine.
Yeah, that I think, if I'm right here...
Assuming we like it.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't tried it yet.
The interesting thing about winemaking is that unless you're harvesting, there's nothing to do. So in their spare time, these bone-idle vintners go fishing in this chuffing big lake.
Had a huge great white on the end of it and he just cut it off.
Yeah.
Despicable.
I'm useless at this. Fortunately, it's well known that one should have white wine with fishing.
First, a Pinot Grigio.
It's a very light wine.
In terms of
But-
labelling,
Pleasant.
if it says Pinot Grigio, it'll be light normally. If it says Pinot Gris, which is the French way of saying the same grape, it'll be fuller in flavour. Now, that's a wine fact.
Fuller in flavour, huh? Well, whoever wrote the label for this one was certainly full of something.
Loredana Pinot Grigio from Monterey. Everyone remembers their first love. That spring, we fell in love when the grapevines were flourishing and the flowers were blooming. We dined, we danced, we laughed. My lady flower, my first love, Loredana. You bunch of Jessies. When did you come up with that?
Who wrote that?
Has to be an Australian.
Next, a Chardonnay.
Oh, God.
So this is £6 or £7 a bottle in England.
Bill?
Yeah, $6.99.
And it smells lightly oaked. And quite melony, I'd say. Is that fair?
That's not a bad sign. I think lightly oaked and quite melony sounds is an encouraging smell.
It's all right, that, actually.
It has got acidity.
It has got
Without acidity, Chardonnay is dead.
And it's not too woody either.
And a lot of the commercial Chardonnays that we see from California in Britain, just they're too sweet. The acidity is not high enough. They're a pointless drink.
It's a good Chardonnay sort of colour as well.
What, whitish.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
It's a
The
very
expert will
drinkable
tell you
drink.
all about it.
This is
It's
a good
whitish.
drinking wine.
It won't stain your shirt. You know.
I'm very happy with that.
This wine can be enjoyed by itself or with your favourite foods.
There you go.
So, like
Spam, fish fingers,
with porridge,
cheese whiz.
strawberry blancmange. Oh, macaroni cheese.
macaroni.
But with the bits of tomato on. So
Yeah,
there you go.
and a sausage.
Yeah. Or black forest gatto.
Chicken tikka boona, do you think it would go? It might get a bit overpowered
tikka
by a
boona?
chicken tikka boona,
Yeah.
but it would be.
All those numbers 12 to 26 on the menu at my local Indian. Go with all of those.
Or the Chinese even, the
Or
special
12 to
mixed
28
metaphor.
at the Chinese.
Special mixed metaphor.
Yeah. I feel a sort of mild sense of satisfaction because I found James an affordable, attractive Chardonnay you can get in the UK. I don't pretend he likes it as much as my posh friend's stuff at $50. He doesn't. But he's so determined to get one. Well, James, you got one, so shut up.
You've done well, Mr. Clarke, and I have a reward lined up. This enormous vineyard comes complete with its own airstrip. And when they have some more downtime, the workers indulge in another all-American pastime.
I like the look of this.
Drag racing in classic V8 muscle cars with an even bigger drink problem than Oz Clarke.
It's very funny and very tenuous. Let's just get it over with. Choose your weapons.
I can have anything.
Anything.
I'm strapping myself into a 530 horsepower 1960s Chevrolet Chevelle, while Oz will be riding shotgun in a 503 horsepower Chevrolet Camaro.
Where's the red line? About 6.5.
Only a simpleton could possibly get any pleasure out of this futile activity.
Turns out I've chosen the better vintage. I leave Oz Clarke with high notes of dust and a hint of gravel on the nose. Then it's back to the camper van, with me as chauffeur, and I'm intent on enjoying the scenery as we head into the Monterey hills to see another of his posh winemates. It's a perfect moment, spoiled only by my master's insistence on divulging some advice for life. Viewers, take note.
Don't marry girls you meet at the local sports club when you're 16. Certainly don't ever do the job that your careers master at school wanted you to do. I had two choices, personnel management or dry cleaning.
Why dry cleaning?
Well, dry cleaning obviously seemed to him to make sense.
Clarke's a clean sort of boy.
Yes.
Maybe.
He's quite dry sense of humour. He's dry cleaner.
My next posh winemate is Oxford graduate and rowing blue Josh Jensen. His mountain-grown Carneros Chardonnays are really special, and I just want James to taste them without prejudice and prove to him that this grape, when grown by people like Josh, can produce sublime wine. But Jensen's real passion is Pinot Noir. Now, he's chosen these daunting mountain slopes because of their limestone. Limestone's the Burgundy soil. Pinot is the Burgundy grape. Several of his vineyard plots are explosively good, yet a new one just yards away simply isn't delivering the quality. He doesn't know why.
This vineyard here is a big headache for us because we planted it in 1997 and we're not getting good wines out of it. And
it's just next door to some of your best stuff.
Next door to two vineyards that I consider among the best in California, you know, and yet this one is just giving us problem harvest after harvest. So
we're 10 yards apart.
Yeah, well, I'm about to give up on this one. It's $500,000 out the window, and I'm really unhappy about it.
Maybe we should try it and decide if we think it's too hard and too tannin.
Okay,
This is
we'll do that when we get.
This is yet another of his plots to try and get a drink out of you.
Yeah.
We should try them all, I think, just to be on the safe side.
This will be a real test of James's developing palate. Can he pick out the problematical Pinot Noir when it's hidden among its more distinguished neighbours?
I would say that is the problem child. I would say that is warmer, softer and more mellow from down below, and I'd say that one is slightly more edgy and slightly rawer because it's up on the exposed hill where life is harsh for the grape. Am I right?
Well, James, it's a difficult test, I admit. But you failed.
Have I? Well, which one is the problem one?
The problem child is the one in the middle.
Well, it isn't actually. Because
Certainly is.
well, it isn't, because actually this is my favourite one, and I am the wine drinker of the people.
With ideas above your station, who's the expert here?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's jolly nice, and I've probably just saved you your $500,000 that you're about to throw away.
Well, terrific. I'm delighted, and we will put you down for 200 cases.
I'll take the lot. $5 a case, sound reasonable? You have already admitted that it's no good, so, you know.
Now that I've saved Mr. Jensen half a big one, the least he can do is reward me with a glass of his famous Carneros Single Estate Chardonnay. Slightly oaked.
Yes.
It's nice. It's slightly oaky, but it has acidity as well and fresh fruit flavours, is that right?
And a bit of perfume. If you follow the name, if they make a cheaper version, you're going to like the cheaper version too.
That's a wine fact.
Good. It's a bit like when... I can't think of a good analogy.
Thank God for that. Otherwise we'd have had to listen to it.
Time to call it a day.